Well, good morning. It is the 2nd of November 2020, and welcome to another daily devotional. This morning, as I was spending time with the Lord, I was in Luke chapter 4, and in Luke chapter 4, Jesus is in Nazareth, and Jesus is in his hometown, and he is speaking to the synagogue, and he opens up the scroll of Isaiah and says, "The Spirit of the Lord is upon me, because he has anointed me to preach good news to the poor. He has sent me to proclaim liberty for the captives, to recover the sight of the blind, to set at liberty those who are oppressed, and to proclaim the year of the Lord's favor." Then he rolled up the scroll and sat down, and it says that and all spoke well of him and marveled at the gracious words that were coming from his mouth. And then they said, "Isn't this Joseph's son?" In Mark's version of the events, he says they took offense at him. And there's this shift that takes place. Jesus is there. He is telling them, "The Spirit of the Sovereign Lord is upon me, because he's anointed me to preach good news to the poor, to provide freedom for the captives and liberty for the prisoners, recovery of the sight for the blind," and all these amazing things. And people are like, "Wow, look at the authority that's coming from this guy. Look at the gracious words that are coming from this guy. Look at the miracles that are coming from this guy. This is incredible what's going on." And then someone says, "Hold on a second. Isn't this Joseph's son?" Jesus, in this context, says it's only as in his own hometown that a prophet is without honor. People get offended at him and go to throw him off the cliff at the side of outside of Nazareth, and but he walks through them because his time had not yet come, according to John. But here's the deal: they took offense at him. And in taking offense at him, at Christ, they missed a visitation from the Lord. Because they took offense at what they saw in the flesh, isn't this Joseph's son? At what they saw in the flesh, they didn't know him according to the Spirit. And because they took offense at what they saw in the flesh, it cut them off from receiving anything in the Spirit. Offense restricts us receiving from God. If we are operating in a spirit of offense, if we're offended by things or offended at people, then it stops us receiving what the Lord wants to give to us. This world is full of people being offended. It's full of people being offended by small things, by little things. How often do we see it on social media? Your actions, they offend me. I mean, it's just all the time, right? But what we see in this passage is that whenever we get offended, and whenever we harbor that offense and hold on to that offense, whenever we look at things according to the flesh and not according to the Spirit, then we position ourselves in a place that restricts us receiving from the Lord. Folks, I pray that today that you don't live under the spirit of offense. I pray that you don't get offended, and you don't get offended by anyone, certainly within the church or within the body of Christ. Because if you do, you're closing a door to them being a blessing in your life and receiving the Spirit of God through them in your life. It's always good to be free of offense. Have a great day.